very simple, as you can see it. So one thing that you need to understand here is that when you see the dotted line, you have to use these symbols, greater than or less than. This one is for the dotted line. Okay, as simple as that. Then whenever you see a solid line, so dotted lines are these, then whenever you see a solid line, so we're talking about the solid line, you have to use greater than or equal to or less than or equal to. Solid line looks something like this. So we have to identify here to say that this is the solid line, this is the dotted line. So let me say this is the dotted line, and then this is a solid line as well as this is a solid line. So whenever you're answering this question here, you can start from anywhere you want, especially the line which is crossing at one point. So we can see that this one is just crossing at one point, that is the y axis. So what number is that? So that number is 6. So we can say y, but according to the instruction here it is saying write the 3 inequalities that define the unshaded region. So we are describing this part here which is unshaded. Remember, the part which is shaded is this one, isn't it? But we are describing the part which is unshaded. Okay, that's a good part. So according to what we have here, we know to say that this is the solid line, so we have to use greater than or less than. Let me say greater than or equal to or less than or equal to, since it is a solid line. So now that the part which is not shaded is less than, so we have to use less than or equal to. Less than or equal to, then it is cutting at what number? 6. As simple as that. Then let's come to these numbers, or to these lines which are crossing, or which are passing through at 2 points. So let me start with this one here. So in terms of the coordinates, if I correct the coordinates here, we know to say that x in the y-axis is 0, so we have 0, 6, because coordinates are in the form of x, y. Then correcting the coordinates here, we can see that we have 3, 0, because y is equal to 0 in the x-axis. So what are we going to do? We are going to find the gradient. After finding the gradient, we are going to find an equation. Then from there, we are going to derive that in an equation into an inequality. But remember, the masterpiece here is y. So we have y minus y1, which is equal to the gradient, open bracket, x minus x1. Since we know to say that gradient is same as y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. So you can put that one. Okay. So let's start. So we can label these coordinates as x1, y1, x2, y2. That is what we have. So we don't have y here. We have y1 as 6. We have y2 as 0. We have y1 as 6. Then divided by, we have y2 as 3. We have y1 as 0. We don't have x. We have x1 as 0. So this is what we have. So we can just do this. Y minus 6 is going to be equal to negative 6 divided by 3. I'm going to get negative 2. Then here we have y, which is going to be equal to, so I'm taking this one to the other side. Remember, you need to multiply here. Negative 2 multiplied by negative 2 multiplied by x, negative 2x. Then negative 2 multiplied by 0, that is 0, and this one goes to the other side. I'm going to get positive 6. So this is what I have. Now remember, this is an equation, but we want to find the inequality. And this inequality is defined by y. Remember, the part which is shaded, the part which is shaded is this one, but which one is not shaded is greater than, and this one is solid, so we are going to use greater than or equal to. So you can say y is greater than or equal to negative 2x plus 6. So this is our second inequality. The last inequality, we are going to do the same thing. You can see that here we have x1, y1, x2, y2. So let me just do this, and then we're just going to use the same formula that we have used to find the second inequality. Alright, so we don't have y. Do we have y1? Yes, we have y1 as 2. Do we have y2? Yes, we have, which is 6. Do we have y1? We have, which is 2. Do we have x2? We have, which is 6. Do we have x1? We have, which is 2. Do we have x? We don't have. Do we have x1? We have, which is 2. Just using these numbers here, remember. But remember, this is dotted, so we have to use greater than or less than. So y minus 2 is going to be equal to 6 minus 2, that is 4. 6 minus 2, that is 4. 4 divided by 4, that is 1. Okay. Then y is going to be equal to, so I'm taking this one to the other side. Remember, it is negative. When it goes to the other side, it's going to be positive. 1 multiplied by x, x. 1 multiplied by negative 2, that is negative 2. Then plus 2. Then y is going to be equal to x, because this is giving us 0. But remember, according to what we have here, if what is defining this line here is y, which part is not shaded here, it is greater than, isn't it? Because the part which is shaded here is less than. So the part which is not shaded here is greater than. So we are going to say y is going to be greater than what? X. So this is going to be our third equation. Then from there, we are done answering this question.